Hi everyone, I'm Rincey and this is Rincey Reads. Today I'm going to be doing the over 30 book tag. This was created by Ink Not Blood. I'll leave a link to it down in the description. And I just happened to stumble across this recently and thought it was rather appropriate to do as a video because next week's my birthday. And I've been over 30 for a little bit now. I'm turning 33. Had to think about that for a second. But I'm still technically over 30, so I can still do the tag. So yeah, I always think it's kind of funny when I talk about my age here in my videos because there's always someone who's like flabbergasted by my age, which, I mean, I guess thank you. You don't think I'm as old as I actually am. I mean, not that even being in your 30s is that old, but also I'm just like, do you not see all of that happening there? So yes, I'm turning 33 and there are 5 questions to this tag. It just seemed really fun and really not basic, but just like kind of something simple I could do for a video this week. So I decided this would be a good one to do. So anyways, let's jump in. So the first question is to name a book with a protagonist who is over 30 years old. And for that, I picked All Grown Up by Jamie Attenberg. This came out a couple of years ago and was a very divisive book because the main character in this is considered like an unlikable character and she makes some decisions that are not great. But I adored this book so much. It's the story of this woman named Andrea who is, I believe, in her 40s and she's single, she's childless, and she's kind of content with her life being that way, but also she does make terrible life decisions. She drinks too much. She gets into not great relationships. She feels very uncomfortable around the rest of her family. Like she has a sister who has kids and she feels a lot of pressure from other people to kind of take a more traditional route with her life, and that's not really what she wants. She loves living in the city, she loves being single or unmarried, and loves being childless and stuff like that. And so I just really enjoyed this book because it's a very honest and unflinching look at that sort of lifestyle, and it's a thing that you don't see very often at all. So yes, All Grown Up, Jamie Attenberg, highly recommended personally, but I know that some people didn't really like this book very much. Question 2 is to name a book that represents who you were when you were younger. I feel like I've talked about this before on this channel, but I'm gonna go with like the Sweet Valley series. I have the Unicorn Club books in my possession, so I just picked the first one. I was really into the Sweet Valley series, starting with like Sweet Valley Kids and moving up the age brackets as I got older as well, or just ran through the books. So yes, anyways, this also works really well for me because I basically wanted to be Elizabeth and tried really hard to be Elizabeth as much as possible. She's like, bookish and studious and doesn't have like a wide range of friends. She's not like super popular, but she has a couple of really good friends. And yeah, I just feel like that encapsulated a lot of who I wanted to be when I was younger. The next question is to name a book that represents something about where you are in your life right now. And this is a really difficult question to answer and may have sent me on a minor existential crisis. But the book I decided to go with is To the Bright Edge of the World by Eowyn Ivey. Even though like the very first book I talked about had to deal with a woman who was like single and child free and stuff like that, I've actually really gotten into stories lately that are about like marriage and good relationships and like quality marriages and stuff like that. Books that explore marriage in a very honest way are things that feel really appealing to me, but also just like romance in general is a pretty new interest of mine. That sounds kind of weird, but like I wasn't super into lovey-dovey stuff when I was younger, but like lately I've been like, oh, I'm actually really enjoying this, and maybe it's just I need something more joyful and hopeful in my life. But I really enjoy books that explore quality marriages, and I enjoy in general seeing people who are in quality marriages thrive and things like that. And so To the Bright Edge of the World is one of those books where it's super romantic, but it's not a romance novel, but it's just the fact that these two characters love each other a whole lot really comes through on the page. So this is a historical fiction book, and you're following a man who is sent to Alaska. He like was in the army or served in some form of military, and he's being sent by the government to Alaska when Alaska was basically just first becoming a state in the United States, to sort of explore the lands and see what's out there. And so him and his wife are separated for long periods of time. And so a lot of this book is written as either diary entries or letters that they write to each other. And yeah, there's just a lot about this that's really sweet and really beautiful. And I love the way that Eowyn Ivey writes too. So yeah, I'm just going to go with that. The next prompt is to name a book that represents something about you that has never changed. And I was originally going to hold up my Clue graphic novel, but I have no idea where I put the thing. So instead, I'm just going to hold up this recent read, and that's Heaven by Home by Attica Locke. And the thing about me that has never changed is that I love mysteries. I really felt like the Clue one would have worked really well because I just read that, recently, and I've read the Clue books when I was a little kid. And basically, what this is representing is that I've loved mysteries my whole life. I especially love puzzle mysteries like Clue. When I was younger, I also was obsessed with Encyclopedia Brown. I read like the John Grisham books. When I found Go Higashino and his mystery series, adore them. Love Attica Locke, love Tana French. Super into mysteries, but I really enjoy, especially now, mysteries that are not like standard mystery books, which is why I don't really read a lot of like J.D. Robbs or anything like that. And not that there's anything wrong with them, but I sort of like things that put a little bit of a twist on the genre, which is, I guess, shows that I'm growing and evolving as a human being. But in general, mysteries, always my jam, probably always will be my jam. Next is name one of your favorite classics, just because, classics are old and we're old here on BookTube. And so I'm just going to be basic and say Pride and Prejudice. I really enjoy this book a whole lot. And the final prompt is to name a book that was published the year you were born that you would still like to read. So I looked up books that were published in 1986. A lot of really big books that were eventually adapted came out that year. It, never going to read that though. Hatchet, never going to read that. Howl's Moving Castle, no. I didn't realize Frank Miller's Batman series or Dark Knight comic came out that year too. I felt like it was newer, but apparently that's it. So the book that I chose that is a book that I've been meaning to read forever and I just never did it, and that's Mouse by Art Spiegelman. Also didn't realize that came out in 1986 originally. But yeah, this is basically like a classic graphic memoir and considered like one of the foremost in that genre, and I've never read it, so I should probably get on that at some point. So yeah, that is everything. Feel free to let me know down below if you are a fellow old here on BookTube, and if you would like to do this tag and you're an old, feel free to do it as well. I'm not going to tag anybody specifically, mostly because I don't know people's ages here on BookTube. There's a handful of people who I can kind of assume are over the age of 30, to say the least, but I'm just not going to tag anyone specifically. If you would like to do the tag, consider yourself tagged if you're over 30. So yeah, that's everything I have for this video. Let me know down in the comments below, again, like I said, if you are an over 30 booktuber, or if you've read any of the books I mentioned here, or just have general comments in general. Okay, I think that's a cue for me to end it. So yeah, that's all I have for now, and thanks for watching.